if you have toxic relationships with both, ooh, that's going to be a lot for you to deal with. Some of us ride or die to our own detriment. It's not the truth for you. It doesn't make sense to you. Assalamu and hello everyone. Welcome to or welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're doing well. In my previous video, I talked about phases 1 and 2 of an elevation journey. These are not your standard elevation tips, but I think they're just as important. So the first tip was to set your intentions before you do anything, whatever it is that you want to do. And then the second tip was to get some blood work done. Now, this blood work that I recommended or that I spoke about is done on an annual basis. It is also, possible to get blood work done if you're not feeling well. But typically you want to get this blood work done annually just to make sure you're doing well. And I do want to mention that there are a lot of silent and deadly diseases that exist. That's why it's really important to know what's going on within your body. And when I say silent but deadly, I'm talking about hypertension and diabetes, for example. For today's video, I'm going to talk about steps 3 and 4, or phases 3 and 4 of your elevation journey. So let's dive into number 3, which is to take care of your mental health. Mental health is health. Many of you know this, many of you understand this, but it might be difficult for you to get to the place in your life where you are doing okay. And that could be for a variety of reasons, including your work environment, your home environment. It could be due to genetics. It could be due to other, different things going on in this phase of your life that might be contributing to how you're feeling or how you're handling stress. And when I talk about mental health, there are 4 phases of, I wouldn't say phases, but there are 4 categories of mental illness that are defined medically. And most people fall into one of these 4 categories. And it is anxiety, depression, mood disorders, or psychosis. As an experienced healthcare provider, having treated patients before that fell into one of these 4 categories, I do understand that there are numerous medications that exist to treat these disorders, and there are also certain ways in which you can try to help yourself and take care of your mental health, including therapy. Now, therapy is like a taboo topic amongst the Black community, or even a lot of other communities that I've noticed when talking to different people of other cultures. And, I can't bucket the Black community as just one monolith, because that would be incorrect. But I do know that certain Black communities, and from my own experience, is that we don't go to therapy. Therapy is not something, we don't tell our business to, not even professionals, which is, it's an odd thing, because if you're going through something, you need sometimes a mediator or a therapist to just help you get through certain things. So I know that with therapy, some people who are working in a job that offers these particular health services, they're able to get 10 a year or 20 a year, however many the health plan that you've signed up for provides. But if you're not in a stable job or you don't have access, I am going to leave a few links in the description below for either free or low-cost therapy options. And so I do encourage us women to seek help when we need it. There's no need to fight inner or outer battles by ourselves. With the coronavirus that impacted the world in 2020, people started to wake up and realize that, there's a lot of things that we're going through that we shouldn't be going through alone, and that we should be able to talk to somebody to not only get it off our chest, but to try and figure out if there's something productive you can do to help yourself. I want to read off some statistics for you that I found with regards to mental health. These are general statistics now for women, and that in 2022, nearly 25% of all adults had mental illnesses within the past year. For depression and anxiety, it cost at least $1 trillion to treat, and that also involves lost productivity, and it's projected to actually reach $16 trillion by 2030. Now, with Black women in these statistics, Black women are less likely to receive treatment for mental illnesses. Only about 25% of Black women receive mental treatment compared to other races. And again, it goes back to the stigma and the taboo around receiving mental health treatment or seeking help. There's some institutional racism that is also involved in seeking treatment. And I understand it takes time for some women to even muster up the courage to go out and seek therapy, because it shows that you are really vulnerable and that you're going to have to be able to break down your own walls in order to seek help and to seek some kind of professional guidance. So again, I'll leave a few links in the description below, and I will continue to encourage you to seek help and to take care of your mental health. Now, the fourth step, or the fourth phase, is also connected to mental health, and that is to be careful of your personal relationships. The main relationships we have, though, is relationships with the family and relationships with people at work. And if you have toxic relationships with both, that's going to be a lot for you to deal with. And I know a lot of you women are going through that right now. You're in a toxic work environment and you're in a toxic home environment. So what does that leave you with? It leaves you between a rock and a hard place. And I'm going to encourage you to really sit down again and evaluate what's going to be, good for you. Some of you Gen Xers might be familiar with the term the ride or die chick. And women, it's kind of like, how long will you ride or die? Some of us ride or die to our own detriment, to our own disillusion, to our own unhappiness. And so it's going to be really important to take that time to really evaluate what's going to work for you, what's going to be best for you in the long run. No need for you to be out in the streets very bitter because you're doing something that, you don't really, it's not the truth for you. It doesn't make sense to you. I think that sometimes we find ourselves in situations where we don't have any control, and that is because somebody else is controlling our decisions. They're controlling our actions. And I once saw an interview, or maybe a video by Codie Sanchez. She's an entrepreneur, and she talked about how her parents wanted her to live the typical quote unquote American dream, and that is to work a 9 to 5, bring home your paycheck, create a family, and continue to buy a house and keep to that cycle. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Some people are really happy with that and are satisfied and are grateful that they're able to do that. But she felt it wasn't necessarily, it didn't make sense for her, is what I'm trying to say. And what she said, which I thought was really interesting, was that her parents wanted her to do something that made them comfortable. Not necessarily made her, Codie, comfortable, but made her parents comfortable. And she thought, well, this is my life, and I'm not living my life to make my parents comfortable. Yes, she wants them to be happy. She doesn't want them to stress about their child. But she needed to go do something that, succeed or fail, she had to go out and try it on her own. She had to go out there and seek her dreams and pursue what it was that was important to her. And, she's really successful. She was able to make it and become successful. And I think that's really important for us women, is to follow our truths and, try and create a life that makes you happy and that brings you joy and that, feels right for you. Not everyone is going to agree with your choices. And, I think it's sad too, because the choices that you're making are not choices that harm other people. They don't harm anyone. They're not putting anybody's life at risk. They just might be something that you feel you want to do. Go back to school, pick up a hobby, try a new sport. And it's like you might be discouraged and just told to stay in one place without ever pursuing something. Please, women, pursue things. Go out there and, really dig into the things that are going to bring you joy. And I'll leave a link to a particular video that I really spoke about finding ways to find crafts and hobbies that are beneficial and helpful for you. So those were the 2 items, or steps 3 and 4, and ways in which you can elevate yourself. I, again, will leave several links in the description below. One thing I do want to tell you is that I left a poll for my live videos. So there are 4 options which I've provided for you. You can also chime in the comments of what you think would be good topics to go live. So one of the topics is menopause. or perimenopause. So talking about just ways in which you can understand what perimenopause and menopause and postmenopause are, and there will be topics that I really dive deep into. The second option is to talk about Fab Five Fridays. Some of you Gen Xers might remember or can recall Fab Five Freddy, Yo MTV Raps. So every time I think about Fab something, I always think about Fab Five Freddy. But not that I'm talking about rap music, but I am going to be talking about five fab things we as women can kind of get into. It could be books, it could be hobbies, it could be perhaps topics of health and wellness. I don't want to get too much into I don't want to get into politics or how do I say social commentary or anything like that, but just ways, five things we can do for our own health and wellness. Another option is to talk about what's in your medicine cabinet. Now, as a pharmacist, I think it would be really cool to go into the different drugs that might be in your medicine cabinet or that you might have questions about. There are thousands of drugs, both medicinal and herbal, that exist, and it's kind of like, well, what do these drugs do? How do they impact us? What is the repercussions if I start taking medications while I'm on this particular herbal medication? So I thought that maybe that would be a good thing to talk about during lives. And then the fourth option was to just do a question and answer. So any health and wellness questions you have, I can answer for you. I cannot give recommendations, even though sometimes I use the word recommendations. I can't give you health advice because, legally you're not my patient, and so it would be hard for me to give health advice. But I could answer some basic questions for you if you have them with regards to drug therapy, health and wellness, menopause, perimenopause. So those are the options that I have left for you. They're going to be either on Monday afternoons or Friday afternoon. So please vote, take that poll, and let me know because I want to get this thing started. I really want to go live and find creative ways to connect with you. I hope that this particular video has been beneficial for you. Don't forget to pick up a copy of my Pause and Prepare health guide. Pause and Prepare is for women who are in their perimenopausal, menopausal stage of life. I just provide you with some really high level overview of what it means to be in the stage of life and what to look forward to and what is important to pay attention to. So I thank you for watching. Don't forget to pick up that guide. I'll leave a link in the description below. And again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.